The Curtiss XP-40Q was a modification from the P-40 program, initialized in 1943 to improve performance and overall usability in air combat. 3 airframes were ultimately converted for use on this project, including 2 P-40Ks and 1 P-40N. All 3 of these were to maintain the 450 caliber machine gun armament, the first of which was a P-40K-10 CU with the serial number 429987. The airframe was produced during the latter half of 1942 at the Buffalo, New York plant. On 27 January 1943, it was crashed as a result of an engine failure in Buffalo. Afterwards, several modifications were made, including the addition of an improved cooling system, a longer nose to house the V-1710-101 engine, and a 4-bladed propeller. The first flight of this aircraft was on 13 June 1943, which promptly led to restructuring of the airframe. The XP-40Q-1 received several modifications prior to November 1943, including a bubble canopy and the relocation of the radiator to the wings. The Q-1 was delivered to Eglin, Florida for testing, followed by its return to the Buffalo plant in January 1944, where the wings were clipped from 11.4 meters to 10.7 meters. The engine was also replaced with the V-1710-121. The image here depicts the XP-40Q-2 prior to these modifications, as can be seen by the unclipped wings. The wings were clipped early in 1944 as depicted here. Notice the shark mouth, which had been added sometime prior to the wings being clipped. Upon flight testing by Captain Gustav Lundquist in November 1943, the Air Materiel Command placed an order for 2 additional airframes, the first of which possessed the serial 42-45-722. This airframe, a converted P-40K-1 CU, received the new designation of XP-40N before becoming the XP-40Q-2A. This aircraft kept features from the Q-2, like the V-1710-121 engine, as well as the clipped wings. Automatic shutters on the oil cooler and a metal finish set it apart from its predecessor. Its maiden flight occurred in March 1944. As a consequence of several forced landings and frequent repairs, the aircraft ended up being grounded and delivered to Allison for testing. The second prototype ended up being declared surplus and sold post-war to Joe Ziegler for a small amount of money. He applied the civil registration NX300B and entered the 1947 Thompson Trophy race, which occurred on the 1st of September in Cleveland, Ohio. Despite failing to qualify, he ran the race, having to bail on the 13th lap due to engine troubles. He bailed out of the aircraft with only a broken leg, but the aircraft ended up being destroyed. The third prototype was built from a P-40N-25 CU and would be the final airframe used in the program. This aircraft was built in early 1944 and was the same as the Q-2A, aside from a longer windscreen and smaller canopy. Upon delivery in April 1944, the aircraft suffered engine problems, forcing the pilot to land, enduring moderate damage. As a consequence of the development of the P-51, P-47, and P-38, as well as the winding down of the Second World War, the XP-40Q program ended up being cancelled. This, along with the genesis of the jet age, left programs of this nature obsolete.